All right, good morning, folks. Today is February 21st, 2025. This is Coffee with Community Services, Alta California Regional Center's weekly service provider meeting. Thank you for joining us today. We've got 73 folks on. My name is John Decker. I'm the Director of Community Services here. As usual, I'll introduce our staff and get into our agenda for today. You already heard we have Jennifer Bloom, Director of Client Services on. Additionally, from Client Services, we have Cindy Lay, one of our Client Services managers. We have Jaslyn from Community Services. We have Janice. Good morning, Janice. I see Boyd and Virginia as well. From Client Services, we have our Intensive Case Management Unit, the ICMU. Everyone loves that one. Toby Golden, our manager, is on as well. We have from Community Services, Ethan and Michael and Kylie. My assistant, Zach, is on. I see from Client Services, Veronica from Woodland is on. Good morning, Veronica. And Jessica from Community Services. Additionally, I see on from Community Services, goodness, Mason, Christy, and Rhonda, and Beverly. Good morning. I see our managers, Helen and Scott on, and from Client Services, I see Carol and Max as well. And I think I said Mason, but if not, good morning to Mason too. Um, all right, folks. Well, I will say thank you very much. Let's see. I saw Hubert's name pop up on there, but he's not on camera right now. Um, So for our agenda today, we're going to go into our sign of the week and Deaf Culture 101. We have a spotlight from SVS, and we have an update on the service provider directory slash QIP, everyone's favorite topic. We have further discussion about rate reform, questions and answers. We have some things from Alta's calendar. We're going to talk about exemption requests a little bit. We're going to go over DDS calendar. Before we do all that stuff, right after Michael, we'll do an NCI update from Jennifer so that we can give Jennifer time to do other things possibly. So I will throw it over to Michael Mercado and spotlight him for everyone.
All righty, good morning. Are we ready for the sign of the week? I have two for you. We have what's up and see you later. The first one, what's up? You start with both of your hands, 5 shape, bring down those middle fingers and use that to touch the top of your chest and bring them up like this. What's up? What's up? The second one, we have see you later. You use your 2-hand shape for C, the back of your hand facing out. And then later is the L hand shape, and you move it like this. So see you later. So make sure that you have the outside of your hand facing out when you do see you later, so your palm is facing in. We'll do it again. We have what's up, and see you later. All right, good job, everyone. So for Deaf Culture 101 today, we'll be discussing how you can make a deaf-friendly environment for your business or your program. I'm going to give you a few helpful hints. That way, if you imagine yourself having deaf and hard of hearing clients, or if somebody shows up to your program or business who is deaf or hard of hearing, you can be ready for them to have a deaf-friendly and accessible environment. So first, the lighting. That is important. Having good lighting will allow for clear vision and clear communication. You can see signs clearly and without shadows. Shadows can create, and shadows and a dimness can create issues in being able to clearly see those signs. And it can also create issues in being able to lip read clearly and see facial expressions. Uh, However, I do caution you about being too much light. Like if you have the sun glaring in your face, it can cause an issue and make it hard for your eyes to see those facial expressions and those signs as well. So it also benefits everybody to have this lighting accessible for everybody. And then next, we're going to move on to like closed captionings, open captions, and TVs. If your program or business has a TV, maybe in a waiting room or something, just go ahead and turn those closed captions on. That way, if a deaf person walks into your establishment, they can see what's going on in the environment as well as see what's going on the TV via the closed captions. So thirdly, we have getting interpreters for appointments. If you know that a deaf and hard of hearing or hard of hearing person is going to show up to your business or program for an appointment, you should go ahead and schedule an interpreter for them to ensure smooth communication and reduce any misunderstandings, which is important and appropriate for everybody to know what's going on in that discussion for that appointment. So fourth, we have learning basic ASL, just basic signs. A few ASL things such as hello, how are you? You know, some of the things that we've been learning in our sign of the week. So just it's good to have that basic ASL knowledge. That way, if you meet a deaf or hard of hearing person in your program or business and you have those few basic signs, you can start to have that basic communication, which can make a more deaf friendly environment, make them feel more welcome and accessible. So then we have visual aids. Sometimes deaf and hard of hearing folks struggle with understanding English, even or written English. Visual communication and visual aids will help. So showing pictures, you might have to search something online real quick for a description to put that visually. And the visual aid will help clarify any possible misconceptions. However, a visual aid should not replace an interpreter. It's only there to support the communication needs, not to be the communication support. Six, we have hiring staff who are either deaf and hard of hearing, or if they're hearing and know ASL. It's a good idea to have, deaf and hard of hearing or folks who know ASL in the environment to make it more deaf friendly and accessible. You can contact some deaf organizations if you plan on hiring staff and you want to assess their ASL skill level, because some people are not necessarily honest. You can get that assessment from some deaf organizations. And the seventh we have is the space, a seating space. So, for example, if you go into like a classroom, typically you see rows of desks, you know, back to back with, or not back to back, sorry, but in face in front of each other. So you have somebody sitting in front of you and somebody sitting behind you. And so when people are talking, it's hard for deaf people to follow the conversation and figure out who is talking because they can't see the lips with people behind them and all over them. So it is best to set up the seating in the room in either a U shape or a C shape. That way you can see everybody as they're communicating and it makes that a deaf friendly environment. Finally, we have our deaf and hard of hearing trainings or workshops. You can have trainings and workshops hosted at your business or your program for staff. DDSS is DDS DDS has a few workshops related to deaf and hard of hearing trainings, and it can teach different ways of communication, how to make communication successful, provide resources and support. And I can share you the link with that to that. They do have deaf and hard of hearing trainings that have been recorded at DDS and saved with deaf presenters and some hearing presenters as well, and interpreters for those trainings. That would be very beneficial. I will go ahead and send that link if you want more information and would like to learn more about how you can make a deaf-friendly environment in your business or program. So I know most people may feel a little nervous or scared to use any of the signs that they've learned when you're meeting a deaf person, but really, I want you to know that when the effort is made, even if mistakes are made, deaf people will help out and really even appreciate just the effort being made to communicate. Seeing that effort is very beneficial and inclusive. So a deaf-friendly environment for your business and program will help make sure that everybody feels welcome and respected just by making even the smallest adjustments, such as lighting or visual aids, having staff who know any ASL, making sure that communication is clear and accessible, and building that foundation of inclusion and access for deaf and hard of hearing individuals so that they can be more included.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Michael. So this is timely. We did a tour of our new office that we're moving into. So Helen and Michelle, Scott, Jordan, myself, Toby, we got to check out the new place where our community services department will be, where the ICMU will be. And in doing that, we were looking at Michael's cubicle and where Michael will be sitting. Michael has a designated cubicle at our regional center that has storage for equipment that he has as well. And as we were walking around, Michael, and looking at the space, we all mentioned we really need to talk to Michael about this. We really need to have Michael here so he can best identify what space works best for him. Because we were even talking about the positioning of being towards a bright window or being away from a bright window. And if you have that brightness in your face, does that impact your ability to see people if you're trying to see them sign, for example? So these are all things we need to consider with you, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, just illustrating, including the individuals that you are wanting to have these supports, accommodations made for in any of the decision making is just so important. So thank you, Michael, for giving us our Deaf Culture 101 and our sign of the week. Jennifer, can I have you give the update now? I'm going to share my screen
Sure.
with our website, and I would like it if you could just give folks an update about what we have here on the front page.
I'm happy to. And I want to make sure my sound is okay. I was having difficulty earlier.
Sounds perfect.
Great. Okay. Hi, everybody. You may have heard about NCI before. National Core Indicators is what NCI stands for. And NCI is important because it really helps shape the way that we implement and identify service needs for the clients that we serve. And right now, through June 30th, there is a special in-person adult-only survey, ages 18 and up. State Council on Developmental Disabilities has trained interviewers who are going to be contacting regional center clients ages 18 and above. And this is across all 21 regional centers in California, so not just ACRC. And these interviews are voluntary. We really want to encourage our providers and our clients and families to participate if they're comfortable doing so. The information is confidential. Again, it's voluntary. These are in-person interviews that take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to complete. The interviewers from the State Council on Developmental Disabilities will meet our clients at their home, maybe in the community. George Lewis from the State Council, he is overseeing NCI. He let us know that they have meetings at regional center conference rooms, so we can really accommodate and support this process. In order to have data that's reliable and that we can do something with, we want to have approximately 400 respondents. George let our team know the other day that we're around the 100 mark. So we have some room to go. And we also have until June 30th to make this happen. So just want to share that if you're a provider, you're at a day program or an SLS agency, ILS agency, and your clients share with you that they were contacted, please encourage them to participate. Our clients are allowed to have someone sit with them and be present, but our clients are the ones who need to answer the questions. It's also important for clients to know that they don't have to answer every single question. So let's say there's a question that it does not apply to them or they don't know how to answer. They can pass on that, but we really want their participation on any level. And really, it does help us plan, look at areas where we're succeeding and look at areas where we need improvement. So it's really valuable input. All of the data will be shared once it's compiled, and then ACRC holds a public meeting to review the data. So you can be looking for that in the coming months. There you go.
Thank you very much, Jennifer.
Sure.
Perfect. Yeah, again, I think can't understate the seriousness with the findings of the surveys are taken. For many years these things were not published. We didn't have public meetings about them, and so it's really the only thing that the regional center can do is just encourage people to fill them. If we, and any of our providers, if we hear about it, just encourage people to fill them out. And thank you, Jennifer, for giving them kind of all of those details as well. Please, and if you had questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the service coordinators because their managers got the same training. They know about NCI. They're aware of it as well. All right, I'm going to throw it over to SVS Services, Donna. And Masai too. I don't know if you're going to share your screen, but I got Donna able to share hers.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Let me just share my screen really quick. Happy Friday. I hope everyone is having a great Friday. Okay. And I haven't used Zoom for a while now, so bear with me. Okay. Here you go. Can you guys see it? Awesome. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Donna Gonzalez, and I am the Regional Director for Social Vocational Services. And pretty much who we are a community and career exploration program. And Social Vocational Services has been in the industry since 1977, and we are working with statewide regional centers. And now we are new with the Alta Regional Center. So thank you very much for vendoring us. And as I've said, we are like California premier service for individuals with developmental disabilities. And what we do, we empower them to make sure that they live the best quality of life. And with that, we make sure that we are innovative and the quality of program that we serve is at par with their client interest and choices. We're very big on choices. So we are person-centered and we want to make sure that the clients are first. So our mission vision is to provide training and support necessary for those who participate in its services to achieve their social, recreational, vocational, and residential goals. So social vocational services across the board, we offer day programming, independent living services, supported living services, and supported employment program. But here in Folsom, for now, we have the CITP or the Community Integrated Training Program. But moving forward, if we see a demand in these programs, we will be able to create that as well. And what do we offer? As I've said a while ago, we do offer person-centered plans. We do have clubs and interest-based activities. We do meaningful and community integration. We also offer door-to-door service available because I know right now transportation is kind of a hiccup. So we can provide that within Folsom region. That's something we can accommodate. And also we do have our own paid work experience. And our program details. So our program starts from 8:30 to 2:30 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. And it's the same ratio. It's 1:3, one staff member with three participants. And at the moment, we are community based, meaning all our activities are done in the community setting. And part of what we do as well is we do a weekly club dynamic meetings wherein I sit down with our staff members, our direct support team to talk about our clients on a day to day basis. And we want to make sure that everyone is working with everyone. So, what's different with our club or our setting is that each of our client create their own schedule. So they choose the club they want to be part of, and then the schedule will be tailored fit to them. So each schedule will be different for them. So our staff members will be working with everyone. And pretty much with that, we also do a comprehensive client assessment. So the moment they come into our program, we have a 30-day time to assess them based on their level of participation into the activity, level of enjoyment, and level of proficiency on how the activity is coming to unfold. And also, we are all trained with crisis prevention intervention. So we do interventions, basically. And some of our highlights, and since we are community based, we are big on community access. So we develop all our activities in the community, and we have partnered with our local organization. Like, for example, we do have a gym membership with Crunch Fitness. So that's where our participants go for their fitness clubs. And we also have community garden involvement. And we do have a good partnership with Oak Hills Church, where we rent their kitchen and their art rooms for our activities. We are also big on self advocacy. We want to make sure that our clients have the opportunity to have a voice. So, how do we do that? Again, we make them choose their clubs through a one on one session. It's not like they do it with the rest of their peers. We really sit down with them, with our activity coordinator and myself, so they could choose their club uh, individually. We also offer part of our component is career exploration. So we do have a volunteering club, and in here, this is where we try to provide work experience through volunteering opportunities. But moving forward, we really wanted to be able to have our own paid internship program and have their own work experience as well. So at the moment, here are some of the clubs that we are offering. We do have fitness, as I've told you a while ago, with Crunch Fitness. We go there. We also do sports with Andy Mooring Complex. Master Chef, we do have cooking and baking. We do have Green Thumb for gardening, vocation, which is volunteering. We also have time travelers because I think Folsom is really rich in culture and history. And we also have handcrafted arts, Adventure Club. These are all fun stuff like laser tags, mountain climbing, or rock climbing, not mountain climbing, rock climbing, hiking, geocaching. We do those fun stuff. And we also have game masters wherein they do, I don't know if you have, do you know Dungeons and Dragons? So they do play that game too. And moving forward, this is are just not the clubs that we offer. We are also going to be able to offer different ones. Like we are also big on digital art. We want to have a podcast moving forward. We want to have a fashion club, self care, fishing, ASL, micro enterprise, music, automotive, and so much more. And pretty much our clubs is not a setting stone. It will all going to be depending on our clients' interests because we tailor fit the program through them. So, yes, pretty much it. That's who we are in a nutshell. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you, uh, John, for this opportunity to talk about who we are. And if you have any questions, I will be leaving my information on the chat button, and I will also send our flyers in there.
Yeah, if there's any way you can drop your, presentation in the chat, there's a number of client services managers that have joined as well, since we did introductions. So it's a good opportunity for them to hear a little bit more about what you do. Any questions for folks? All right.
I'm
Well,
sorry,
thank you
John. I
again.
missed
Oh,
part of it. Can I ask a
please go ahead, Cindy.
question?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Hi, Madonna. How are you?
Hello.
Um, Hi. So at the last, I guess, day program fair, you mentioned that the program may possibly have a site, or you're going through the process. I was wondering where you are at.
Yes, we are in the process of getting licensed, and we are, I think, sending our application form. Hopefully, we're gonna get that licensure too. So we will be able to serve other functions, like we can assist with toileting, changing, and other functions.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Masai Davis. I'm the Director of Regional Administration at SPS. I work collaboratively with Donna. So as Donna mentioned, we actually have a site that's already underwent a complete build out that is in the process of licensing. So once that is done, we will notify the appropriate personnel at Alta Regional Center, and then we would look to accommodate individuals, as Donna mentioned, that may have more intensive support needs as well. So that is in process and imminent as we speak.
Excellent. That's a great update for our case management folks that are desperately waiting for more of those types of opportunities to open up for clients always. We continue to grow as a regional center. Being able to offer some of these types of supports is excellent. So thank you very much for completing our process here and coming to our local regional center.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to give an update on the rate study stuff. And there's a couple things I want to do. One, I want to share the most recent correspondence that we have from the department related to workbooks. And just so you know, the same information that the regional center has. So directly from my email. Okay. So everyone should be seeing an email from DDS, and it indicates that this communication is to inform you that the phase 3 workbooks, these are the rates that are supposed to be effective January 1 and encompass both transitional rates and post-transition rates, for those of you keeping track of all of this. The phase 3 workbooks have been updated to reflect the final QIP lists with an effective date of 1/1/2025. We are currently working on updating the vendor level files and will notify you once they have been completed. If you are downloading and working on the workbooks offline, please notify us as soon as possible to ensure we are providing updates to you appropriately. A copy of the final QIP list will also be posted on the provider directory page on the website shortly. Please also note that the regional center column in the QIP list corresponds to the vendoring regional center. Should you have any questions or require further assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out. And again, this is directed to regional centers by the Department of Developmental Services. Preceding this communication, we learned was that those groups that had information that had not cleared the service provider directory, but that the department had said, you will get the quality incentive effective January 1, because we know in essence that you tried to log in previously, that they just finished processing all of those. So that is our understanding of this email, is letting us know that all the people that are going to get a rate increase that's going to be effective the 1st, and this allows us to calculate any retroactive payments that we're going to need to make to all of you, that now we have that information, or at least they said they gave us the information. I will tell you, they have not updated the website yet, and we still don't have the specific information from the vendors. So we know moving forward that if people are now getting into the directory, then the department is going to make the quality incentive amount effective the month following your logging in to the provider directory. So that's for those individuals that did not meet that November 30th deadline of having all that information in there, or ones that they determined were not in that group 2 or 3, which I'll share that as well. So I want to just share with folks that that's our understanding of where we're at right now, is that the department has given us, or they're posting currently, and this was yesterday, the information of the final QIPs. I looked on my separate list that only myself and our rates team, like Robin LeMay, have, and it's still not updated. So just sharing that for folks right now. We're getting ready to head into another month of billing here soon, for some of you, and we still, don't necessarily know that we're going to have all of the rate information to update it. Again, our commitment being just that we will do retroactive payments as we calculate what these are. I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick for that, and then I'm going to go over just to the DDS's rate reform website, where I can share where the additional information is related to the quality incentive and the service provider directory. I wanted to share with folks that I participated in, just so you're kind of aware of the mood or what people are kind of saying statewide. I participated in a work group of regional centers taking a look at the rate study, and there was just overwhelming response from throughout the state of frustration from service providers related to the lack of clarity and responsiveness, and sometimes accuracy of the information with the service provider directory. So it was something that definitely was heard very loud and clear of the continued ongoing frustrations. So with that, you saw the message yesterday indicating that they were going to be updating the list shortly on DDS's website. From DDS's website, where I'm at right now, I see an update of February 10th. So they have not yet updated the list of what we consider to be all those that have completed the last step. And so because I pull this up right here, you're able to see it, it's only from the 10th. So they have not updated it on DDS's website, which is the searchable lists that they have on here. But again, our understanding is that we have all of the information for those of you that fall into these categories. Okay, so let me see if anyone has any questions about that at all. Any questions about the QIP and what information we have? So as we get additional QIP information moving forward, the department is going to be giving us a weekly listing of who completes the QIPs, and then who has completed the service provider directory, who then qualifies for the quality incentive program, and then can get the additional last part of the benchmark rate. So again, they're going to be doing that on a flowing basis for new vendorizations that we are doing. Once they bridge over to DDS the following month, then providers will have 45 days to get into the service provider directory from there. So any questions about the service provider directory before I move on to other rate reform items? Let me go check the chat real quick. All right. What is the date we should be really worried about if we've not received the acknowledgement form in the workbook with the new vendor code related to our vendorization? Who do we contact on that date? We are in group 1. Perfect question. I would not worry at all, because I do not think that there's anything that a delay that occurred into April would impact. I think the challenge for some providers is the longer we wait to get the acknowledgement forms done, there's opportunities of lost revenue that goes on too. So what I will say is our plan is to get the acknowledgement forms in by the end of March, if at all possible. And in the next couple weeks, I am hoping that our staff are going to have some of these challenging discussions. Like we've been meeting with a lot of providers, explaining this to them. So we're hoping to have most of those discussions in the next few weeks. Lindsay.
So I have a couple of programs which their service codes fall outside the rate study. And do you know how they are handling those services in the provider directory?
I don't. What do you mean how they're handling them?
So I like submitted them on my workbook, but they're not showing up in the directory. And I've reached out to be like, hey,
Oh, really?
there, and they haven't really addressed that. So I didn't,
All right.
maybe are they doing like 2 phases, like just focused on things that are eligible for the 10% right now?
I hope not. That I will follow up with DDS about that and ask that question this afternoon because we have a weekly meeting about that. So my next thing that I was going to talk about was non-rate study service codes and the rate study. So that was a good segue. Okay, so QAP not so non-rate study vendors. Okay, in directory. Okay, my notes there. And then let me check the chat real quick. Should I wait to sign the rate reform acknowledgement form you sent until it shows that I'm QAP eligible? If we get workbooks every close to the okay, will we get an extension to apply for the exemption? Yeah, I think the plan for the exemption, like with the workbooks, we should be able to give you right now. Like there's no new information at all to give anyone, to my understanding. So I understand that there are a number of workbooks that went out that had some calculations on them that may have not been accurate. And I know that we're going through right now and trying to see what our plan is. In some cases, it's just adding in like the rate and making sure that it's updated and really clear for folks. In other cases, we have like the wrong address in some things or like the wrong service code. And so we're going to have to kind of redo some of those. So I will just say right now, this is like a relatively fluid process. We're figuring out the best way to get the information back and forth most accurately between us. But ultimately, there's nothing more I think we need to discuss. I think we're relatively settled that for those of you that have like one-to-one programs, we're going to be looking at doing exemption requests and putting them in for you kind of at your request. I know some folks are working on those because we want the department to address that issue. So Eric, go ahead.
So on that question of the letters, should we be worried if we're not getting those letters yet? Should we be reaching out?
No, you should not be, because we are kind of putting we sent out a bunch of letters and we noticed that there was errors based on some of the data that we had from the workbooks. And so DDS has sent us subsequent updated information. Right now, that's one of the reasons why I don't think Michelle Duchesne is logged in to this meeting at all today, is because she's meeting with her staff, fixing letters for 063 providers, 055 providers, because we want you to have your letter in your hand saying, Alta California Regional Center says we are this type of vendor and that this is the type of rate that we are expecting at the end of, the hold harmless. This is our post transition rate, for then you to be able to turn around and say, I need that exemption request, or I want that exemption request. So we know we want to get the exemption request stuff squared away. Probably like by March 3rd or so, having a good idea who is going to want those or not. And then we have a list and we're going to go through every single provider that needs to crosswalk. There's that crosswalk directive that went out, and we're just making sure that every single one of them, we've got new updated acknowledgement letters that indicate what they've been assessed to be under the new rate study rates.
Because I think I would agree it would be pretty important to make sure that I felt that letter was right, like with my QIP status before signing.
Yeah. Again, all we're sharing. Yeah. Okay. So again, the workbooks, you can expect them. I would say probably between now and mid-March, And that's only, I mean, we've already done a ton of these. We've already received a bunch back. It's just there's some service codes that are going to take us a little bit more time to work on. We met with individually this week with a bunch of different providers. Met with Easter Seals yesterday and talked about how the rate methodology is changing, but also things like when we're switching these rate methodologies over. So for example, when you're going from, kind of a group provided services with different type of staff to individuals, we also have to write instructions for our service coordinators. They also have to know what to say in IPP meetings so that they can get IPP addendums that outline possibly a different type of request for hours than was previously done with the previous service. And so that also needs a small program design addendum too, in addition to the rates being modified and the instructions for service coordinators. So there's just a number of these activities. We're trying to nail it down by which service coordinators, which service codes really require the most amount of attention. And right now, 055, we're working on all of those letters. I know 063, we want to get all of those out to all of the providers as soon as possible. And then Helen has a number that she's working on with her team because of the transition. So I don't worry, just don't worry right now. This is not a worry thing for any provider about the letters and things like that. We will get the information to you that you all need, and you will not be penalized in any way due to challenges related to this.
I guess I
This
just
is
wanted to
recorded.
clarify.
This is recorded on YouTube. All right, go ahead.
For the we're holding on to a couple pieces of information that we think the original plan was, I felt was that if it was easy, you might get a letter, but there might be a meeting that you have. And I think, so we're holding on to a couple pieces of information that we're like, okay, I think this is what our hold harmless calculation is for respite, for example, or we have a program that we think Alta is probably classifying one way and we think it should be another way. As we're kind of just sort of waiting for the letter to come to start that conversation, should we be doing something else in advance to like send information to you so that we want to try to minimize the work and get the chances of getting it right? Should we just wait for the letters and then engage, or should we start engaging?
Yeah, you absolutely should. You should wait for the letters to engage.
And then if it's wrong, we'll just engage that.
And then if there's some, if there's some major disagreement, then we have the ability for you to write a response back to us with what your rate disagreement is. There's a whole form that DDS has related to that. So we have that as an opportunity for folks, but let us get the letters right as much as possible first. Give us that time right now, so that we're not going back and forth with more letters to people, which we're already kind of doing. So I do want to touch on the rate study, just another thing that is available to folks, as I probably overshare, but there is an opportunity for us to do a survey with the Department of Developmental Services for further engagement, at least on my behalf, representing our regional center, for service codes that we want to have further discussions with the Department of Developmental Services as it relates to rate study inclusion. And so these are some of the ones that I identified, and I was just wondering for feedback from you as service providers, or even from my own staff. We can do this as a group exercise. Service code selection. So the ones that I have on here are not a surprise because I've reported to them previously, but 017 is the crisis services service code. And it's not currently included in the rate study. We have a number of different services that support individuals with the need to go out immediately. Service code selection, the next one is 089, which is housing access services. So housing access services is also something that's not in the rate study. And I worry that, we might look at that kind of falling behind. I wonder if there is a way to possibly tie 089 housing access services to coordinated family supports a little bit too, but we've built in some non-billable or non-direct time into housing access supports. So I think we need to kind of figure out how we want the department to do that one in the future. 026 is intensive transition services. This was a service that Dan Kilmer and I worked on and got developed in the state of California. And this is to help individuals transition from like higher levels of care institutional settings out into the community, but it's outside of the rate study. 531, 532, and 533 are day programming, and I just indicated that I want further discussion about one-to-ones, which I feel like it's safe to say that the department seems very receptive to having further discussions about looking at one-to-ones. I expressed all the feedback that you guys gave during the PAC meeting last week and during our Coffee with Community Services session when I met with the department last Friday afternoon. So I saw 875 pop up in the chat. We know that that is one that is currently has a special work group that is trying to work on that rate. So this would be service codes that are not included in the rate study, possibly. Eric, yeah, go ahead, please.
I think for consideration, medical and behavioral respite was not included.
Yeah,
in
you're right.
Study, and I just think those are things that are almost a service denial when folks get referred for medical or behavioral respite. Because there's very few folks out there that provide that service. So I think that would be good to include.
Because at-home
I
respite,
will say that.
right? Mhm.
Sorry, say it again, Jordan.
At-home respite, I think also was not included.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Out of home respite, medical, behavioral. I know that I've heard the medical and behavioral. And I feel like maybe if they felt like 017 crisis services was addressed, if we could figure that. They said if we figured out one of these, it would make the medical behavioral respite possibly easier to figure out too. So I will just add it into my list of things for them to take a look at. Medical behavioral. All right. Thank you guys for that. Much appreciated. Oh, sorry. Just only have, I think I got through most of my stuff here. Oh, I wanted to say, and I saw her on earlier, and I hope she's still on, but oh, did I lose Rihanna? I thought I saw Rihanna Lamison on for a minute, but I just wanted to acknowledge we met a little bit earlier with our managers, and we, gosh, I don't know how long it's been, Scott, since we started our QA unit, but I, get to review all the excellent work that is done, and I feel like if I was a service provider, I would want like the highest quality assurance unit at a regional center because you want to be treated like as fairly as possible, as factually as possible, like whenever there's any type of complaint that comes up. And so I had a chance to read a couple of Rihanna's that she has done recently, some responses. And I was just mentioning to my staff, like, it feels good knowing that our staff are putting out that type of information to you all. Again, that is so clear, so factual, and again, really trying to understand what's going on with the complaints. And so I just want to acknowledge that we have a lot of excellent staff that work in the QA unit with her as well, but read a couple really good reports recently that I wanted to acknowledge. And then I thought a little bit earlier, Jessica Rath on as well, but did I lose her? Or is she not on anymore? Oh, I did. Well, I guess we'll introduce Jessica the next time around. I think I missed her on camera here to introduce her. All right, folks. I've got the Department of Developmental Services website up because I wanted to just talk about the home stretch of the Developmental Services Master Plan. They are having their final push of their meetings for the development of it. I've been reading the updates and some of the recommendations, and so I think we will be once the information gets published and we're able to take a look at the recommendations from the group. We will see how it ends up turning into policy decisions by our regional center. So hope everyone has a great weekend. We look forward to seeing folks next week, and we'll give more of an update because we'll be almost into our new office. By and large, everyone is working remotely at the regional center, other than some on-call staff that are at the Harvard office. So everyone, I hope you have a great weekend. Take good care.